Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to yet another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. We looked at Black WarGreymon back in EX8. Now, finally, I'm going to be looking at WarGreymon OTK in BT20. This is a list I've been working on since Special Booster 2.0 came out. And originally I was going to share it then, and then I was originally going to share it in EX, and I was going to share it in EX8 because I didn't share it because I was still tweaking it and everything. But now, come BT20, I am finally happy with it. Is it going to break the meta? Probably not. But it's one of the last opportunities we're going to be able to play Greymon kind of like this before all the adventure stuff kicks in. So, you know, strap yourselves in. This is my current WarGreymon OTK list. If you're looking at the list already and noticing some spicy stuff, then you know, you're very keen-eyed. But anyways, first up is the egg. This is the classic one for WarGreymon OTK. Gives us that Agumon or Greymon in its name, R1000 DP. Does not give it to the Omnimons. It only gives it to Agumons and Greymons. It does actually make it quite handy for like Agubond if we wanted to play that. You know, in this. But yeah, just a nice egg for giving us those boosts. Then in terms of our rookies, we've got our Agumon line. So we've got the BT12, obviously for searching our Greymons or Omnimons in name, and our Taikamias, and gives 1000 DP to the Greymon or Omnimons, which is pretty nice. We've also got the Agumon from BT14, which I currently get on at 2 because I'm playing 2 Gotsumon. So Gotsumon is in here just as a floodgate. I was playing Shamanmon before this, but I've since swapped to Gotsumon just because there are quite a few different decks at the moment that like to play Digimon by effect. Royal Knights, Chaosmon, EmperorGreymon Red Purple, anything with Partition, you know, you name it, there's quite a few different things that like to play things by effect. So I thought I'd put Gotsumon in as a floodgate. If you wanted more consistency with the overall strategy, you could just increase this Agumon up to 4 and take out the Gotsumon entirely, especially because this Agumon is, as we know, pretty good. Start of main, if you've got time and play, you push it out and then you digivolve into a Greymon in your hand without paying the cost, which is really nice, and also gives your Greymons and Omnimons 2000 DP inheritable, so not bad. And then we're playing the red Agumon X, revealing top 3, adding your cards with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and then 1 X antibody, so helps us just with searching our X antibody option, not bad at all. And then going into the Greymons, we've got 2 of the BT5 Greymon. I have put the alt art up here by accident, which I don't usually do. I usually put the original arts in these deck profiles, but here's the alt art. Essentially, when digivolving, if this Digimon has Agumon in its Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory, which is really nice because we can do this, digivolve with this one, and then just gain an extra memory at the start of the turn, which is really nice, and then gives us another 2000 DP inheritable, which is pretty darn cool. Then we've got 4 of the ST1 Greymon, the classic vanilla, just gives a security attack +1 Greymon, still integral to the overall strat here. Then we've got Greymon X, give the vanilla, gives us a protection, just integral to the overall strat here. We're going to be saying shit like that quite often in this profile, not going to lie. We've been playing Greymon for a long time, folks. But, you know, the Greymon X gives us the protection from being bounced and deleted, so not bad at all. Similarly enough, Greymon X, still at 1. Please, Bandai, just semi-limit it. Just give me an extra copy, please. It would really help me out. Anyways, this one, when this Digimon would digivolve into a card of Greymon, its name reduced to cost by 1 for each of that card's colours. So that means if you've got a single colour Digimon, it will only reduce by 1, but if you've got a dual colour Digimon, it will reduce by 2, which is pretty sick. Then it also has an inheritable effect that when this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted and returned to your hand or deck by effect, you could place an X antibody from your sources to the bottom of your deck to prevent this Digimon from leaving play, which is not bad at all. Then going to level 5s, we've got 2 Alteris mode. This essentially is in here because we can digivolve it on top of our Metal Greymon to get us an extra draw. If we've got a Tamer, delete something to 5000 DPLS, might get rid of like a really annoying floodgate or just something that's just on the board, chilling out. And then also gives us access to that same inheritable as the BT9 Greymon X antibody, just helping us survive deletion and being bounced. Then we've also got the 3 copies of Metal Greymon from BT12, has Raid. All turns, when the attack target is switched, you get to play out a black or red Tamer with a play cost of 4 or less. Doesn't matter what the name is, just any black or red Tamer. And then if you've got Greymon or Omnimon in your name, You get the piercing as part of the inheritable, which is really nice, especially when coupled with the EmperorGreymon X. So gain security attack +1, and if you've got EmperorGreymon X antibody, you also gain 3000 DP, which just again really helps you with the overall aggression. Then going into the level 6s, you're going to notice the spice stuff, and I'm going to talk about the spice before we go into the more regular WarGreymon stuff. And the spice in this list is EmperorGreymon from BT18. He costs a shit ton to go into in this. I'm not going to lie, 5 cost is pretty steep. However, he's also really cool, and that's all I need. When Digivolving, for each colour in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, trash any one Digivolution card from your opponent's Digimon and suspend one of their Digimon, then this Digimon may attack. So that's only going to strip 2 sources and suspend 2 Digimon, because we've only got reds and blacks. You do have ways of potentially getting other colours in this deck, and we'll go into those. But that can be enough. And then you get to attack, so you get a pseudo blitz. So if you pass turn, you then get to attack. And then your turn, when this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon in battle, it gains security attack +1 for the turn and unsuspends, which is incredibly cool in this deck. And the reason why that's incredibly cool is if you've managed to retain turn, this can OTK on its own, which is really nice. Because essentially, with the right stuff underneath you, with the DP stuff going on here, security attack +1 from the Greymon, security attack +1 from your EmperorGreymon X, security attack +1 from the EmperorGreymon deleting something in battle, security attack +1 from Tai, that's 5 checks, just gone, and then you unsuspend, and then you can just swing for game. And the amount of times I've taken people by surprise with that on DCGO, also just bearing in mind, obviously, BT20 cards are not on DCGO yet, that's in reference to when I was testing it before BT20. You know, it takes people by so much surprise, especially if they're like, yeah, I've got, you know, a Mirage with a Zudamon Ace underneath it. Oh, they've got into something that strips the sources. Oh no, they've retained turn by getting my overflow. Oh no, they've beaten up my Mirage. Oh no, I'm dead. So it's you know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty damn cool. I really like it in this deck, and it's just a nice bit of spice in this list. The reason why I said earlier, we're probably not going to play this list after the adventure stuff comes out in April, is obviously we like warping with the new EmperorGreymon into WarGreymons, and we're getting new WarGreymons and all this sort of stuff, so we're probably going to be taking him out, but I really don't want to. He's really funny and I love him, and I'm going to keep playing the deck whilst I still can. Just incredibly funny card. Then going into our more classic WarGreymons, we've got 3 of the BT12 WarGreymon. Has the raid. When Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gets 3000 DP and gains reboot. And then all turns when attack target switch, you unsuspend. So this one can also technically get, you know, OTK on its own as well, because they've got something out. This one, of course, suspends something. This, of course, just raids into something. So this one is great if we've got if they've got a suspended Digimon, or if they've got an unsuspended Digimon. Whereas this one's only great if we've got a kind of an unsuspended Digimon out. So that's why, again, the EmperorGreymon's pretty funny in this, because EmperorGreymon's harder for them to play around than the WarGreymon is. But ultimately, I did put WarGreymon in at 3. Mainly because I've only got 2 copies of EmperorGreymon, but also just because this is a WarGreymon list. Let's be honest, we don't want to betray our roots. We want to go mainly WarGreymons. But you know, this guy, if they've got an unsuspended Digimon out, he can immediately just go raid into it, unsuspend, do all the checks, because it will get security attack +1, security +2, security attack +3. You know, do all that sort of stuff, and then do the remaining checks, and then you can go to WarGreymon X and OTK essentially. So there is that. It's more piece dependent, but it's also easier to retain turn with the WarGreymon than it is with EmperorGreymon. So both of them have disadvantages and advantages. Also, WarGreymon, because of that, when attack target is switched in the reboot, he's also really good on the defensive as well, whereas EmperorGreymon is just a sword. He's not really a shield. You can give him blocker because he's got Greymon in his name, and the tie can give him blocker, and you do unsuspend with that your turn effect. So if you haven't retained turn, he could become a massive blocker, but ultimately WarGreymon's the better defensive card, which is why we've gone 3, we've gone 2, but I love both of these in this. Then just in here as a backup is WarGreymon. This one just helps us get a little bit of catch up, the BT14 one. If you've got an Agumon, you can essentially warp into this. If you've got like tie in play and they've got a 10,000 DP Digimon, your Agumon, it has to be Agumon specifically, not Agumon X, can warp into this, for 4 cost, and then you can do when digivolving, raid, you may attack, gain security attack +1 and piercing. So this guy can also technically get an OTK on his own with the right stuff underneath him. So basically all of our level 6s can OTK pretty much solo, you know, if with the right stack, so which is pretty nice. Then our 1 level 7, which I used to play Blitz Omni in this, I've now changed it out for Omnimon X from BT20, because Omnimon X from BT20 does the same job as Omnimon from BT5, but can essentially get 2 checks on his own if he doesn't got any security modifiers, obviously, and because he can swing and then attack again whilst unsuspended, and that attacking again whilst unsuspended also means that, say for example, WarGreymon, we've done 5 checks with this, but oh no, we can't do the last check. What do we do? Hard digivolve into Omnimon X. Don't even matter about the on-play when digivolving. End of turn. Give ourselves rush and attack without suspending. So it just helps us close the game. If we do manage to have X antibody underneath us, then when the on-play when digivolving then matters. So if Omnimon or X antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, choose one of or both players' Digimon and delete all other Digimon. Then return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck, so just a board wipes, which is really nice. So it's the nice kind of, it's the nuclear option if we need it, and it just ultimately does a lot more than Blitz Omnimon ever did. As good as Blitz Omni was, as much as a absolute legendary staple of the game Blitz Omni is, ultimately Omnimon X does its job, but better. So I would definitely, you know, have this over Blitz Omni. Then going to the tamers, 2 of the original BT1 tie, security attack +1 for your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards, and then 3 memory. That's also the other option. I just realised as well, the other advantage of Omnimon X, of course, is not only can you search it because it's an Omnimon name, it's also red, so it means we can search it with our options as well. So another advantage of it, just whilst it's in my head. But yeah, tie helps you get more boosts, which is pretty good. Then this tie, the BT12 one, on play, 1000 DP, gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. That's one of your Orgamons or Greymons getting that effect. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon or Greymon or Omnimon in its name, by suspending this tamer, gain 1. So he does help you with potentially retaining turn if you go into EmperorGreymon or any of your more costly dudes. So not bad. We've then got 2 copies of Crimson Blaze. This isn't here to deal with wide boards with lots of small bodies because it deletes everything with 6000 DP or less, and then also stops your opponent playing stuff by effect. So again, great card against stuff like Royal Knights because it can just turn, you know, it just switches them off for a turn, which is sometimes really necessary. Then we've got 3 offense training. In my black WarGreymon list, I was playing Garnet because we had more of a mix of reds and black Digimon, whereas in this we're basically pure red. So I went with offense training instead. It lets us add almost every card in the deck, bar tie from BT12 and X antibody, which is pretty cool. So that's again another reason. Also helps us with reducing our costs when we're digivolving up, which can help us with retaining turn with the EmperorGreymon. So it is quite an integral card in this list, helping with our card consistency and ultimately helping with the speed and efficiency. Then we've also got X antibody BT9 at 2 copies. Very tempted to put more of it in, but space is such a commodity in this. But this helps us in so many ways. Gains memory if it's bounced from security, or checked in security rather. You put it underneath one of your Digimon, you swing in, you then digivolve into an X antibody, which means that if you've done Metal Greymon, you raid, you can do your attack target switch shenanigans, go into Metal Greymon X, then suddenly be doing, you know, massive amounts of DP and security checks with the piercing. Also means with the X antibody, obviously the Omnimon X effect becomes live, which obviously, you know, is great in of itself. But that is the deck. As I mentioned in the Green Gacha build on Monday, I wanted to try and add some tech choices, so let's go take a look at those tech choices now. And here are the tech choices. So looking at these, we've got the eggs are over here. So this is basically, if we want more consistency, we can go Koromon or Koromon. So BT5 Koromon or BT14. This one gets you draws if you've got Greymon or Omnimon in your name. This one gets you draws if you remove some security stack. So both of them just help you with consistency. Ultimately, I think the DP bonus is better for this build specifically. But if you wanted to go more of a toolbox kind of Greymon route or something like that, these guys are way better. Speaking of as well, if you're being more defensive, then or using more of your raid mechanics, then the 1000 DP boost when the attack target switch from the ST15 Koromon is really good. It's why I included it in my black WarGreymon build, because we've got a lot more kind of focus on the blocking and being more defensive, so can be really good for that, but obviously it can help you offensively as well with your raid. Then into the rookies. As I mentioned earlier, I used to play Shamanmon in this list. Right now, I think Gotsumon is the pick for the current meta state, but Shamanmon is also really good, stopping your opponent from gaining memory other than by their tamer effects. Then in terms of our Ogumons, again, these guys are black Digimon, so bear that in mind. But you've got the Ogumon from ST15. If you want to do more of the raid shenanigans, gains you memory whenever you do an attack target switch. I probably should have included the Greymon that is the counterpart to this as well in my tech choices, I just realised. So that's a choice as well. I'll flash that up on screen. You know, basically has a security effect, plays out an Ogumon or a Tai, I think, and then also has the same inheritable as this. So and has blocker, I think, from memory. It's on screen. You'll have seen it. But this Ogumon does gain you memory at the start of main as well, so could potentially help you with retaining turn with the EmperorGreymon. Who knows? So that's not bad. Then going into our level 4s, the Greymon from BT12 could be good, gets you a DP boost, lets you play out a tie if you don't have one, so not bad. Then we've got the Greymon from BT17. I originally tried playing this in this list, but I just found it stalled us a bit too much, and we needed more emphasis on doing checks and doing massive damage to the security, so this one didn't work as well. But if you wanted an additional colour for your EmperorGreymon, this is white, so therefore you then get to strip 3 sources, suspend 3 Digimon with the EmperorGreymon. So that is something to consider. Also helps you with just your overall kind of game plan, controlling the board if you want to be a bit more control oriented, and helps you with playing out your ties or kind of maintaining tempo by hatching in the exit in the breeding area if it gets deleted. So you play out tamer or hatch if you get deleted. So not bad. Then level 5 tech, WarGreymon X. Again, if you want to be more control oriented, if you want to be more defensive, this is the better pick. It helps you control the board by deleting something. If you've got WarGreymon X antibody underneath you, delete 6k or less. Also gives you D-Digivolve protection and DP reduction protection, which is really nice. And then inheritable effect of when a Digimon becomes unsuspended. If this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So that means if you're specifically if you've got the reboot live on your BT12 WarGreymon, or you did an attack target change and you want to suspend on your opponent's turn, you get to trash their security, which is really cool. Then speaking of, if you want to make this more toolbox oriented, or even just go more black WarGreymon focus, obviously the black WarGreymon stuff would be good. Deleting tamers, very important against certain matchups. Unsuspends triggers this potentially if it blocks something and deletes it. Gaiamon was something I was thinking of instead of the EmperorGreymon in this list. Has that security tap as 1, has the reboot, the D-Digivolve, but ultimately the EmperorGreymon was just more funny for me, so I decided to go with that. I just really loved it. The Black WarGreymon X, really good as well. Obviously you're going to need to go more of a Black WarGreymon route with these. We do have a profile for Black WarGreymon specifically from EX8, so it doesn't have Omnimon X in it, but literally you could take a look at that list and just go, I'm going to put an Omnimon X in it, and bosh, you've got a list, so that's the thing. Another option, Ogubond, Bond of Bravery. Obviously our Ogumon, our Koromon inheritable from the BT9 egg helps us with this, gives us a bit of a DP boost, so that's not bad at all. Deletes stuff, trashes the top of your security if you've got top of their security if you've got a tamer, gives you an ace option, which we don't currently have an ace option in the build because we're not focused around that defensive kind of counterplay. We're more about, I want to punch you. That's the strat. We just want to punch. But still a great card. And as I mentioned, obviously, Blitz Omnimon is also an option in this if you can't get a hold of your Omnimon X's. I was playing on this in this deck for ages. It does exactly the same job, just not quite as well, which obviously makes a lot of sense because this card is 15 sets older than Omnimon X, and on top of that is also not an X antibody variant. Obviously, in terms of the lore, the X antibody variant is meant to be better than this. But if you can't get hold of your Omnimon X's from BT20, go with Blitz Omni instead. He is the GOAT. He is, Blitz Omni for game will always be an integral part of the game, an integral part of the history of the game. So, respect my man. Then Tamer Tech, Yuya, gives it's a different memory tamer option, gives you protection and DP. So you could definitely play this instead of the tie if you wanted to be a bit more control oriented. Then in terms of options, Gravity Crush helps you with retaining turn more for the EmperorGreymon plays. Scramble helps you with your general recursion, really good. Garnet Memory Boost, if you're going a bit more kind of red-black rather than just red, helps you more with the consistency. And Hades Force helps you with controlling the board, especially when you've gone into your larger Digimon, just deleting stuff with, you know, the play cost. And because EmperorGreymon is, I think EmperorGreymon is the highest cost Greymon along with these two, I think. Bear with, yeah, 13 play cost. So Hades Force, really good with this as well. So you get to delete 13 play costs worth of stuff instead of 12. So Hades Force, also not a bad shout. But that's the deck profile, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am trying to put more tech choices into these builds as if I can. Just obviously it does make the decks, the videos a little bit longer. So, you know, if you guys would rather just the video end sooner rather than having tech choices, then let me know. But if you'd like me to keep the tech choices in, I personally would like to try and do it more. I love it when Alex does it in his profiles, as I mentioned him on Monday. So I'd like to do it more as well. But that's the deck, guys. It's a really fun deck and is such a great hurrah for WarGreymon, you know, and just Greymon in general. Like I say, is it going to take the meta by storm? Probably not, but it does some really cool, surprising stuff. And the amount of guys on DCGO who have just been completely taken by surprise by this EmperorGreymon, you know, they are within. There's quite a few of them. We've taken some W's with this. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this build. Like and subscribe, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you on Friday for the next video. But until then, keep it digital.